Okay guys, let's try one last example of dividing a polynomial by another polynomial. Once again, when I say dividing by another polynomial, dividing by means whatever comes after the word by is what comes after the word after the division sign. So after the division sign, you see a polynomial. So when you're dividing by a polynomial, that's the one where you go through a three-step process. As opposed to if you saw just a monomial after the division sign, then you just have to split it up and do things separately. Okay, so when you're dividing a polynomial by another polynomial, first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a division box. So here's the division box. Then, the polynomial that comes before the division sign goes inside the box. Just make sure you write the terms in the correct order. Let's look at this polynomial here. So what do I mean by correct order? The powers have to be going down on the x. You start with the highest power term. If you look at the powers here, what's the power on the x here? It's 2. The power on the x here is 1. What's the power on the x here? If you don't see an x, the power is 0. So it's already in the correct order. Power 2, power 1, power 0. The powers have to be going down. They are. So you just write that polynomial down just like it is. You don't have to switch any orders there. 24x squared plus 14x minus 55. Okay, then you have to write the polynomial after the division sign on the left over here. So make sure you write the terms in the correct order though. What's the power on the x here? It's a 1. What's the power on the x here? There's no x, so the power is 0. So it's power 1, power 0. The powers are going down again, so they're in the correct order, so you just write that polynomial over here. Okay, just make sure the powers are going down, 2, 1, 0, and 1, 0, so we're good. Otherwise, you have to switch the order. So in this problem, we don't have to switch the order. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go through the three-step process. The first step of your three-step process is you're going to take the term inside the box, so the left term inside the box, divide by the left term outside of the box. So you're going to do the 24x squared. So the left term inside the box divided by the left term outside the box, 4x. Divide those like you would a polynomial. Divide those like you would monomials. Divide separately. Divide the numbers. 24 over 4 is 6. When you divide the x squared by the x, you would subtract the powers. 2 minus 1, you get x to the 1 or just x. So you get 6x when you divide those. Then you write that answer on top. So the first step is you divide the left term here by the left term here. Write your answer on top. Second step of the three-step process. Take the term you just got, the 6x, and multiply by this entire polynomial over here. So you're going to bomb it, or if you want to think about distributing, you're distributing it. When you do 6x times 4x, you get 24x squared. 6x times minus 5 is minus 30x. And you write this polynomial underneath this one. But there's 3 terms here and there's 2 terms here, so you have to decide where to put the terms. Put them in such a way that like terms line up on top of each other. So this term ends with x squared and so does this. So I write this 24x squared underneath that term. If this would have said minus 30, I know that's not what it says, but if it said minus 30, it would have no ending. So I'd write it underneath this because this also has no ending and I'd have like terms underneath each other. But this ends with x, so I'm going to write it underneath the other term that ends with x, this term. So I have minus 30x like this. Okay, so the second step is you take this polynomial here and you multiply by the entire polynomial here, write your answer on the bottom. The third step of your three-step process is you take the polynomial you just wrote, this one, and you change the sign of each term. This term is positive, so you make it negative. This term is negative, so you make it positive. And then you add straight down, so you're going to add those. When you add those, what happens? Well, 24x squared plus negative 24x squared, or if you want to just think of it as 24x squared minus 24x squared, they cancel. And again, the first terms will always cancel if you did it right. Since those cancel, I'm not going to write anything down. I'm going to go to this next term here. And when you do 14x plus 30x, you get 44x. Remember, those are like terms. Okay, then when you add this, negative 55 plus nothing, it's just negative 55. So you can think of dropping down the negative 55, or you can do negative 55 plus 0, you get negative 55. Okay, now I have to see if we're done or not. So after you're done with your three-step process, just check to see if you're done. I need to see what the degree of this is and see if it's less than the degree of that. What's the degree of this? The degree is 1, because the degree is the highest power on the x. The power on this x is 1, and there's no other x's, so that's the highest power. So the degree of this is 1. And the degree of this thing, what's the degree of this thing here? Again, highest power on the x, it's a 1, so the degree of this is 1. Is the degree of this, which is 1, less than the degree of this, which is 1? The answer is no, because 1 is not less than 1. Since it's not less than 1, you have to go through the whole three-step process again. Now, there could be really nasty problems where you have to go through the three-step process a lot of times, but you keep going through the three-step process until finally the degree of this is less than the degree of this, and then you can write down your answer. Okay, so we go through it all over again. So now I take the left term here and divide by the left term here. So you do 44x divided by 4x. And again, just divide separately. 44 divided by 4 is 11. When you divide the x's, they cancel, or you can just think of it as one. You would subtract the powers. You do x to the 1 minus 1, which is x to the 0. X is 0, you don't need to write it, so you just get 11. You write that answer up on top. Now, be careful. You're going to write the 11, but you have to have a symbol between them. So is 11 positive or negative? It's positive, right? So make sure you put the plus sign there. Okay, so plus 11. Whenever you write terms up here, when you write between every individual term, make sure there's a plus symbol or a minus symbol. If this said negative 11, there'd be no problem. You wouldn't forget to put the minus. But when it's positive, sometimes people forget to put the positive. So put a plus 11 there. Okay, next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the 11 you just got and multiply it by the entire polynomial over here on the left. So you do 11 times 4x minus 5. So multiply it out. 11 times 4x is 44x. 11 times negative 5 is negative 55. And you're going to write that on the bottom here. So we're going to write 44x. Notice I'm putting the 44x underneath the other term that ends the same way. Minus 55. Again, these have the same ending because they have no ending. Okay. Then, so that's the end of the second step of the three-step process. The third step is you take each term here and you change the sign. So this is a positive term. I'm going to make it negative by putting a minus sign here. This is a negative term. I'll make it positive by putting a little line like that. And then we'll add straight down. When we do 44x minus 44x, they cancel. Again, those will always cancel if you did it right. What happens over here? Minus 55 plus 55. They cancel as well. So actually, this doesn't always happen, but sometimes it happens. And that's why I want to show you an example of how that can happen. Everything cancels. When everything cancels, you have to write something here. Don't leave it blank. I know I left this blank. When they canceled here, I left this blank. I want to leave this blank. But don't leave it completely blank if everything cancels. So if everything cancels, just put a 0. Okay. Now, I'm done with the three-step process. I just want to see if I'm done with the question. So I need to figure out what the degree of this is and see if it's less than the degree of this. Well, the degree of a number, when you have a number, no letter at all, the degree is 0. The degree of this is 0. The degree of that is 1. Is the degree of this less than the degree of this? Yes, because 0 is less than 1. So we're done. So now we can write our answer. Okay, so here's how you write your answer. Same way as before, one little extra thing. But look, the way I said it before was the answer would be this blue thing, so 6x plus 11, plus this over this. So that's still correct, but I'm not going to write it. Why? Only when this is a 0, only when that happens. Again, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes it happens. When you get a 0 here, you actually don't need to write that fraction part, because if you're going to write 0 over that, 0 divided by anything is 0, and so it just goes away. So two ways to write the answer. One way to write the answer is 6x plus 11 plus 0 over 4x minus 5. Or you can just realize that 0 over 4x minus 5 is 0 and just goes away. So the answer is just the top thing. Okay, but it's only going to be just the top thing if your final polynomial over here is 0, exactly 0. Anything else besides 0, you have to put that little fraction part at the end. Okay, so just to make it look neater, I'm not going to write the fraction part. The answer is 6x plus 11. Okay, so let's go over what just happened here one more time. When you're dividing a polynomial by a polynomial, not by a monomial, but by something that has at least two terms here, what you do is you make a division box, put the polynomial before the divide sign inside the box, make sure the powers are going down, 2, 1, 0, they're going down. And then put this polynomial here outside the box, again, make sure the powers on the x are going down to 1 and 0, they're going down. Then you go through the three-step process. You divide the left term here by the left term here, write your answer on top. Second step, take your answer you just got and multiply by the polynomial over here, write your answer on the bottom, make sure like terms line up. Third step, change the signs and add, you get this polynomial. Then check to see if the degree of this is less than the degree of this. If it is, you stop. If it's not, you continue. The degree of this is not less than this, so you start over with your three-step process. Take the left term here, divide by the left term here, so you get 11, write your answer on top. Then take your answer, 11, and multiply by the entire polynomial over here, write your answer on the bottom. Again, make sure like terms are lining up. Third step, change the signs, and then add. When every single thing cancels, you just put a 0. And only in the case where every single thing cancels at the end, you just get a 0, then the answer is just the thing up here. That's it. But if there's anything else here, like if this was a 3, then the answer would be this plus 3 over that. If this was a negative 3, then you could put this minus 3 over that. But anyway, since we got a 0 here, the answer is just the top thing. Okay guys, so I hope this clarified it a little. Please practice like crazy. Do so many problems that you're super good at it. You know, rewind this video if you need to and just keep watching them over and over again. Just make sure you get really good at it so that we can have an easier time when we're dealing with factoring, which is the next chapter. Okay guys, study hard and I'll see you next time in class.